Okay, so the next part we're going to look into is an ATS twin clutch. So this comes obviously with a billet flywheel here, and all the hardware is original Toyota stuff that Eric's going to use, but we haven't put that into this video. So we're just basically going to go through this clutch, just the advantages that Joel thinks there is between this and maybe a standard single plate, and maybe the advantages of this over a dual mass flywheel. So over to you, Joel. Give us some explanations of what you think of this.
Yeah, so obviously what we've gone for here is a single mass flywheel. You can find, particularly so in increasing the torque and stuff like that, the dual mass part of the flywheels can fail. They're not designed to take the amount of torque that you're putting through the cars. You're pushing it past the power output of an OEM part. So obviously for this reason we sort of decided to go with a single mass. You may potentially just lose a little bit of the drivability at times, just a little bit more vibration, etc. But obviously for the situation we're going with the car, much increased power and torque output, we've got to look at a solution of a reliable clutch.
And I guess that's the thing, really. You don't have as many wear parts, so with the dual mass, because you've got the movement, you've got the parts that wear, so you get a lot of movement in them as they get older.
Yep.
And I think from experience, and you'll be able to confirm this, but usually with a single mass flywheel, you get better response.
Yes. Yeah.
So actually makes the drivetrain quicker.
Yes. Yes. Obviously, with a dual mass, you have got effectively more parts that can work against the engine trying to spin up. Obviously going to a single mass has its benefits there as well.
And we obviously have a misconception sometimes. People start to think that because you've got two plates in here, that the pedal's going to be horrible, that it's going to be a nightmare to drive on the road, and that it's really just a track use kind of clutch.
Yeah.
What's your opinion of that?
I think with a lot of upgraded clutches, it is very manufacturer dependent. A lot of the pedal feel is always going to come down to the pressure plate inside the clutch, how much force is needed to apply pressure. You do generally tend to find like a real big single clutch, and they do have a very strong pressure plate. So obviously, hence the reason why you can get quite an aggressive pedal and quite on-off as well in terms of the take up of the clutches can be more like a switch rather than a progressive take up. So obviously the twin plates as well, two friction plates, it's a greater surface area for the clutches to bite to, and you generally tend to find obviously the coefficient of friction and material on the actual friction plates as well, and that is also going to help the the ability of the clutch to be able to take the additional torque.
Yeah, awesome. So I mean, really, in theory, from what you've just said there, with the UK roads and the busy traffic that we endure, especially if you do a lot of motorway work, having a dual plate actually may have a lot of benefits over having a single plate that can manage the power that once you start to upgrade the engine, because you effectively sort of step away from the on-off switch like we've just spoke about. So you don't just get no clutch, bang, all the clutch. You're just jerking down the road, because I've kind of been there and I kind of know how that feels. Yeah. So no, that's awesome. It looks a lovely piece of kit, and I'm really looking forward to hearing some feedback on what it's actually like on the road. Is there anything else you think that anyone really needs to know about the kit, or are you quite happy with it?
I think one of the things just to mention is not necessarily about this clutch in specific, but the Yaris GRs, there is quite a well documented issue with standard clutches failing. They do generally tend to be on cars that obviously are driven harder and stuff like that, but there is sort of documented issues even as low as sort of 15-20,000 miles on cars of having issue with clutches. So going with an OEM clutch, particularly more so once you're increasing the torque output of the car, it's just not really a viable option. Like I said, if you're getting early failures on an OEM clutch, even on sort of fairly standard cars, then obviously it's highlighting a bit of an issue there. So not necessarily directly on this, something about this clutch, but I think just something to mention on the GR platform.
No, I think that's some really good information for people out there, because they are a car or a platform now that's starting to become a lot more modified. There's a lot more of these starting to be played with in the UK, and they're a lot more heavily tuned over in Australia at the minute, Dubai and places like that. But the UK now is starting to come onto it, so I think that's quite an important thing. There's a lot of people out there running maybe not big turbo kits, but starting to go down on that. Now the ECU's been unlocked, just starting to play with the ECU and starting to up the power and the torque. So that might be part of the reason why we're seeing a few more failures. But ultimately, I guess Toyota have built it to handle what's in it now. It's quite interesting to see that that maybe it can't. So I really appreciate that feedback, and I'm pretty sure everyone will find that quite interesting. So thank you, John. Appreciate it.